So Lady Gaga really broke the internet when she came out with her new single Disease, where she's just going back to her old persona that we all loved in the 2010s. She's going back to this demonic self, to this kind of satanic version of herself. And while that is very sinister, I believe it has some really good symbolism and quite some good metaphors in that. And today we're going to talk about the lessons that we can actually learn from pop culture people such as Lady Gaga or Doja Cat, and why that might be a little deeper than one might think. So her new single Disease is all about facing your inner demons. It's about facing that inner thing that you are so afraid of. The inner part that you have that might just be so cruel and so weird to you that you're even afraid to touch it. And she really emphasized on the point that this might be your hidden strength. This might be the thing that you need to face. Because once you start facing your fears, once you start facing your demons, that is when you can actually work on them. So the music video starts with a very shadowy creature that reminds us of the 2010s when she had her Born to Die and her Fame Monster era. She was extremely demonic, very, very satanic, and very, very dark. To me, she's kind of like a dark artist. She's one of those artists that is not afraid to show their vulnerable and their dark side. And I believe this to be extremely powerful. And this is why she has made it. She now is one of the #1 artists on Spotify worldwide. So after that, she shows herself running away from that demon. She is that version, that kind of dirty blonde person, and she runs away from this thing that she is so afraid of. This can go so deep. Whenever a human is faced with their biggest fear, whenever a human is faced with that part of themselves that they don't like, that part of themselves that was told to be extremely bad, or society has told you don't do this, don't do that, you might be faced with guilt, trauma, anger, fear. All of these emotions might boil up, and they're gonna put you in a claustrophobic state, as she says herself. And you can only get yourself out of that limitation, out of this claustrophobic jail, if you face this fear and you actually ask yourself, okay, what is this inner demon of mine doing? What is this inner demon of mine trying to tell me? What is this demon of mine doing for me? Because it's time to let go of some things sometimes. I believe when something no longer serves you, like an inner demon or a certain trait that you have, a certain thing that you did or do on a regular basis, that is when you need to let go of it. Once the thing no longer serves you, but you serve it, that is when you need to let go, for real. You can try to run away from your inner demons, but at the end of the day, they're gonna be faster than you and they're gonna catch you. Those are the things that are gonna keep you up at night. You're gonna be hating yourself for it, unless you do something about it. You need to hug that demon, as Gaga says, and then only you can go on this healing journey. You can really face your fears and only do something about it if you accept them. Acceptance is the key to be truly free. We all have things we hate about ourselves, and only once we start to acknowledge it, once we start to no longer run away from it and face that thing right away, look fear right in the eyes and say, fuck you, I am no longer going to let myself down just because I'm afraid of you. You have to stop this inner part of being purged all the time. You need to get into a state of liberation and then heal from that shit. And this is why I believe Lady Gaga is such an astonishing artist. She has managed to not only show her best and most beautiful part on social media, in her music, in her art in general. And yes, this is extremely dark. This can be very, very crazy, and this is based on a lot of trauma and insecurity, but at the end of the day, the alchemy of life is putting those bad parts that you have within yourself and putting them into your art, if you like. Lady Gaga is someone who loves to use her shadowy self and put that into her art, because by doing that you are showing yourself and even your subconscious that it is safe to be vulnerable. It is safe to show the parts of yourself that you might not even like, because if you really want to be authentic, if you really want to be yourself, you have to really show everything. You have to close the gap between your public self and your inner self. That means you have to stop the aspect of being fake. That means you have to stop the aspect of trying to seem perfect all the time, because there is no perfectionism. There is only art in your life if you allow it to be. Once you've healed from those demons, you will essentially come to a point where you realize why those demons were even part of you. You'll realize that it was all for the greater good of yours. Lady Gaga, for example, she has really seen at some point that all of those bad parts about herself that she didn't like in her past version or even in her version now, she has turned into gold. She has turned them into art. She has turned them into something beautiful. She's become a multimillionaire. She's become one of the most successful musicians of all time. She's become someone who really knows what she does. And although I do not resonate with the dark aspects of herself that she shows to the world, I do still think that she is a one-of-a-kind artist, and we have not seen many artists do the things that she did. She has a certain shock factor within herself. She knows how to use controversy to get popularity. And we haven't really seen many artists do this before. Taylor Swift, for example, she's really popular, everyone loves her, everyone hates her. But at the end of the day, she's not an artist who has a certain shock thing. She's not someone who's like, have you seen what Taylor Swift did? That is so crazy. That is so crazy. She's just going to be someone who makes very lovely music, who everyone loves. I love her myself, but she will never have this dark artistry that will make people shock, that will make people be like, oh my god, what did I just watch? Do you get my point? And I think one of the few contemporary artists that has actually made it to such a point was Doja Cat. When she came out with Paint the Town Red, she completely did a whole rebrand. She went from being this lovely feminine woman, all about love and Kiss Me More and all those beautiful TikTok songs. She went from being very dark, satanic, and demonic, just the way that Gaga did, but in a different way this time. You see, back then in old times, Madonna and other artists could just shock you and create controversies to get more popularity and more fans by simply saying things that people might not really like. But nowadays, you have such a variety of different opinions and different versions of things on the internet that saying something like that doesn't really do much. What you can really do to get a shock factor, to be controversial, to be unique, is to really put something into your art that is gonna make people upset. Doja Cat has gotten into this satanic part of herself, and I know a lot of people say it's Illuminati, it's disgusting, it's weird. Yes, it might be. But at the end of the day, she has really done what she needed to say. She has said that she doesn't need validation from fans. She said that she can liberate herself and she can be confident in herself without doing something just for other people. She's doing it for herself, and that is the point that I'm going to talk about later again. For example, Lady Gaga went to some award show in a crazy meat dress once, and that was extremely shocking. Everyone was talking about it back then. This broke the internet just the way that disease did. And nowadays, that something like that has already been done, something like that has already been performed, people had to come up with something else. People had to come up with something more creative and something crazier. So that's when Doja Cat came in. She came in as someone who had this crazy red outfit made from Swarovski crystals. She had it all over her head. People were shocked. People were saying, this is such a crazy agenda. Through creating this within yourself and pushing that onto people, you're going to create such a big amount of talk about you. People are going to gossip, people are going to do shit, people are going to be really pissed. And once you get people pissed, that is when you can really aim your popularity and you can really be successful. Something I have really learned from this case and really taken from myself is that you can never try to be liked by anyone. There will always be people that will dislike you. You see, me doing these videos on YouTube, do you know how many people in my school are gossiping about me? Do you know how many people in my school are saying, huh, Leon, how's this whole YouTube thing going? This is so cringe, oh my gosh. And they laugh about me. They talk about me behind their back, but at the end of the day, there are even more people who love what I'm doing. There are even more people who say, I love your YouTube videos. You know, there's always going to be people that hate you. You can never try to be liked by everyone. If you try to be liked by everyone, at the end of the day, no one's gonna like you. Even Taylor Swift once said, a friend to all is a friend to none in her Cardigan song, and this is 100% true. It's all about being yourself and making your life, your work, your artistry that you post, that you make into a work of art. Because if you are not expressing yourself artfully and beautifully, then what are you even living for? Everyone needs their inner creativity to be expressed without having this inner mouth shut of believing that someone else is gonna say something bad or someone else is gonna think, oh no, how fucking cringe, how fucking crazy. You should literally never care and do things just for you. So moral of the story is, don't try to be liked by everyone. There is no way of being liked by everyone, and if you do, things are just gonna go downhill. The only person that you really should be liked is yourself, and only then many people are gonna come in. When you start to be authentic and when you start to be yourself, many people are gonna come and they're gonna love your art. And in general, controversies are things that artists have been using for decades. If you were to just say something boring, something that everyone agrees with, something that is just completely blank, no one would care. No one would think that your art is interesting. Even me making these videos, they would be completely boring if I just were talking about shit everyone agrees upon. But if I say some things that many people might get mad about, if I say some things that not everyone agrees to, but a certain amount of people still agrees with, that is when true authenticity and truly being you will be part of your art. And this is what is most important in being creative. Creativity is like the thing that we live for at the end of the day. Putting your creations out there, putting yourself out there, this is the truest form of self-expression you can have, I think. Someone else recently who's just been doing things for themselves and not for the validation of someone else is Katy Perry. And I know you might think, oh my god, Katy Perry, I literally forgot about her. And if you have not forgot about her, you've probably heard that she had her downfall. She flopped completely. Her newest album had not a lot of streaming numbers. It didn't go #1 really, maybe just for a little amount of time, and no one really talks about her because she is in her flop era. And most people think that being in a flop era sometimes is a very bad thing, and it is not. Sometimes you just have to flop to be a bop again. You can never have bops without having flops. Do you know how many years it took to be an overnight success for people like Chappell Rowan or Addison Rae? It's not as easy as you might think. The same way it is not easy for me to do these YouTube videos, to put my creations out there. It is certainly not easy, but it has to be done. And once you do it, because you don't care whether it gets viral or it gets popular or it goes on #1 in the popular charts, then you're gonna be free. Because once you detach from this idea of doing things for them to go viral, when you stop that, things can actually go popular and viral. I recently went super viral on TikTok. I had a video with over 1.5 million views. And what I really learned from this is that creativity is the key. I've mentioned creativity earlier, and creativity is just something that is gonna be there for your entire life. As humans, we are meant to use our creativity, and the universe really showed me by making that video go viral that I should be myself. In that video, I was truly being myself. I didn't do something just to make other people like me, just to make other people think, oh my god, he is so cool. I did it because I loved myself and I wanted to express myself. And even someone like Katy Perry has said on her recent interviews that she is doing this just for herself, and this album is all about the metamorphosis that she has gone through. And it might be a big dance pop album that people don't really like because it's different than what they used to like. This is still a really good success because it is a success for herself. I recently had a very interesting conversation with my therapist, and she really told me that once you stop doing things because you're angry, because you want to punish yourself for something, but you do them out of pure love, out of pure passion, and out of pure aesthetic interest, that is when you're gonna be very successful, and that is when things are just gonna flow and they're gonna be easy. That is when I had thousands and millions of people liking my shit. It's really easy if you think about it. And at the end of the day, Katy Perry's album 143 might have flopped in the charts, but it did not flop inside of her heart, and that is what makes her happy and makes the fans happy. The people that truly like you, people that have always liked you, they're gonna be with you forever. Your friends and family and your true fans, your true subscribers, your true people that really like you, they're gonna go through everything with you. Whether you're creating a good album or they don't like it as much, they're gonna like you anyway. Even if it's just a limited amount of people and it's not going mainstream. The people that are meant to see something, they're gonna see it. So to me, this album was a very confident and lovely album. And this brings me to my next point, where I want to talk about Charli XCX's album, Brat. We've all heard about the album. We either love it or hate it. This Brat album has truly made the summer. We had this whole Brat summer thing, and honestly, this was the best summer I've had in my entire life. I actually made an entire video about that. I talked about summer and the things that you should know before autumn. And Charli's Brat album really follows the narrative of a person who is extremely confident, popular, and beautiful on the outside, but in fact is completely insecure on the inside. She's doing all this confidence, rap, hyper techno, hyper pop type of beat, and she talks about it. But at the end of the day, you see those little subtle things where she talks about hating herself, where she talks about being jealous of people, where she talks about those inner parts that she doesn't like. And this is something similar that Lady Gaga did. This is what I talked about in the beginning. She's using her vulnerability and she's using her truest self to be in her art. And I think this phenomenon of being seemingly confident to the outside world but being broken on the inside is not as uncommon as you might think nowadays. On social media, you have a lot of people that are not being authentic. People are just craving realness. And in the music industry, they are craving realness too. And this is why I believe this has been one of the best years for pop music and pop culture in general. And Brat has not only taught us that we should not do cocaine, but it also taught us that we need to really focus on being real. It taught us that people who flash their confidence, in fact, are not confident. The first person that comes to my mind who I think this situation would fit perfectly to is Chanel Oberlin. We all know her from this iconic show, Scream Queens. I absolutely love that show. And she really is that type of person. Yeah, she tries to put other people down to feel more confident. She tries to show people how cool she is. She tries to seem cunty. She's trying to do her catwalks, be cool, but at the end of the day, she's not. There's this one quote that goes, "Confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud," and it could not be more true than this. I used to have a friend back then, like 2 years ago, thankfully, we no longer are in contact, and he was someone who was always trying to be extremely confident. He wanted people to know he's confident. He wanted people to think, wow, he's so confident. he is so beautiful. And this actually just means that he is not confident at all. Someone who is truly confident and truly loves themselves would never want other people to be like, oh yeah, you're so confident. Yeah, I love how confident you are. In fact, they're not confident at all. People are actually going to perceive you as confident and beautiful once you see yourself as confident and beautiful for real. So what people do is they try to fill that inner void, that inner place of insecurity by trying to mask it with the cover of being beautiful, with the cover of being super cool, super sexy, super cunty. But actually, they're not. They're not serving cunt. They are not anything. They are simply insecure. You should really see through that and use your intuition. Trust your inner gut feeling to know whether someone is real or fake. Because if they're being fake, they can backstab you at any moment. But if they're being real and they're not afraid to show their vulnerable side, they don't try to mask their insecurities, then you know that this is a real person. Then you know that this is someone who will actually be there for you, and then you know that this is someone who you can truly trust. And you know, what is confidence at the end of the day? Confidence is an inside job. If you choose to be confident, if you choose to love yourself fully, that is when you're going to be confident. It's quite simple. This sounds delusional, but honestly, it works. It works for me. It works for other people. By the way, something I loved on the Brat album was the scream that Addison Rae did. Honestly, that was amazing. I'm really in love with this new persona of Addison Rae. I've been a Sunray. I've been an Addison Rae fan since I was 12 years old. Back then when she did those silly little TikTok dances, and I love how she rebranded herself. She was really someone who's all throughout the years shown herself to be relevant. She has always done new things. She has always tried new things. And I believe it is so beautiful to not be afraid of doing other things. It's okay to try other things out and get outside your comfort zone. You think it was comforting for Addison Rae to try out acting even though everyone was saying she can't act? Do you think it was cool to stay in her comfort zone for Addison Rae when everyone said she can't do music, we don't like her voice? She didn't care. She simply did things anyway, and now see how successful she got. She has really become one of the main pop girlies, and this is just the beginning. You can call me crazy on this one, but I believe that Addison Rae can reach the level that Britney Spears has reached if she keeps going this way. She has major influences of Lana Del Rey, Madonna, and Britney Spears in her music, and those are those three iconic pop stars that I think really just influence music in such a deep way that's beautiful. Especially with the vintage Americana aesthetic that she has brought back with the Diet Pepsi music video, and this siren aesthetic that she brought back with the Aquamarine music video. She really is not someone who follows trends, but she's an it girl who sets trends. It girls don't follow trends, they set them. I actually was wondering a lot recently why I feel such an attraction to Addison Rae, her brand, her aesthetic, everything, and then I looked up her birth chart. I just kind of got my little computer, I googled Addison Rae birth chart. Then I see her birthday is on October 6th, which is a day before my birthday. I was extremely shocked when I saw that. I was like, oh my god, that means she's a Libra too. Then I look up her entire birth chart. Then I see her Venus is in Scorpio. My Venus is in Scorpio too, and I have major Venus influences. Then I look up some other signs of hers, and she has a lot of similar placements, a lot of similar planets that I also have in the same positions. And that was just like a click moment for me. And I looked up a lot of other celebrities like Doja Cat, Taylor Swift, and then I really saw that their zodiac sign and their entire birth chart really fits mine. And then I looked up some celebrities that don't really fit my vibe, some celebrities that I just really don't like, and I don't like their vibe, their aesthetic, and I just saw they don't match my aesthetic because of the birth chart. And the people that do match it because of the birth charts. So I'm sure you have your favorite celebrities, your favorite singers, your favorite people of pop culture. Trust me, look up their birth chart, look up your birth chart, and then just compare those two. Look at the planets you have in common, or even get yourself an astrologist. I have a great astrologist. If you want to know who it is, text me privately, I'll tell you. And that's just going to be such a crazy click moment for you because you realize why you've been feeling so attracted to this person all along. I have so many Venus placements. Venus is all about aesthetic, beauty, luxury. This is really part of my nature. I feel like I was born with this gift of having exquisite taste. So this Venus thing has really been an influence in my art as well. And I think you can really get a lot of inspiration from people such as Addison Rae, Lady Gaga, and people of pop culture in general, which is why I made this video. I think it's so important to really emphasize what pop culture can teach us. And I know pop culture is pretty much made up. A lot of the things, a lot of the stories, a lot of the celebrity fights that we see, they're all made up for profit, for clicks, for controversies, but they're still a little interesting. And I believe that just the same way that many other stories are made up, you can still learn from them. Whether they're made up or they are real, a lot of them are real, a lot of them are fake. No one even knows what's real and fake anymore. This is why I think it's really important to use use your intuition nowadays and really be real. Be the change that you want to see. This is something I think Mahatma Gandhi once said. It's a basic quote, but it's so true. If you want to see some change in the world, if you want to see some change on social media, in the music industry, then you have to be that certain change, and only then the change can really happen. Don't ever wait for other people to change something. You can do whatever you like. It is such a gift to live in our time nowadays. We're living in such a creative time. Artists and creative and celebrities, they are really just channeling their creativity. Back then, they were not allowed to do that. In the 1900s, artists had to channel their inner creativity through a lot of writing and through a lot of things, and they were censored. They could not do the things that they really wanted to do. A lot of artists had to censor their books. I actually am reading Oscar Wilde's Picture of Dorian Gray right now, and there's actually an uncensored version on Amazon. This is the censored version because it was from the Victorian age, and he could not really express his creativity or the things that he wanted to talk about because of those censored things. But nowadays, people can just do anything, which is the exact reason why it is very hard to have a shock factor, why it is hard to make controversies, but it is certainly possible. And once you use controversies in your art, whatever it is, whether you're a singer, whether you're a content creator like I am, whether you're someone who likes to write, likes to do anything, you have to do things that are going to shock people. You have to do something that will be a little unique. I'm not saying unique in a superficial way, but unique in the way that it is objectively unique and people are going to be interested in your art. But if you like to have your art just be for a small niche of people, that is also totally fine. So I hope you loved this video and you could really understand why I think pop culture can be such an artful source of information, even though it's a little fake sometimes. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Check out my other videos. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Leave a lovely comment if you like. And see you in the next video. Mwah. Also, I want to know what your favorite pop culture moment of all time is. If you want to share some really great pop culture moments or some favorite celebrities or some things that you believe have much deeper meaning than the outside world might think, then feel free to share those in the comments, because I think art is all about the interpretation, all about the person that sees the art.